Are you nervous?
I'm joking. No.
Oh.
I'm really, I'm not as nervous as I thought I'd be.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Okay.
Okay.
So, who are you? And where are you from?
I'm from here.
You're from here?
I'm from here.
From Van, Texas.
My name's Melissa Russ.
Melissa Russ.
Yes. So I grew up here, but I also say that not saying that makes me anything special. So I think there's a lot of
Van people are special.
well,
What are you talking about?
They are special, but I don't think that, like, I think when I wrote some of the things for, like, my Facebook ad, I would say, I've been here my whole life. And I started reading that back, and I thought, I don't want that to come off like I think that makes you superior to someone that that hasn't lived here.
Yeah.
People that come in here are definitely just as important, and you want them to feel accepted and a part of this community.
You're right.
And I think Van is kind of known sometimes for that's what the rumor is, that we are not very welcoming sometimes.
Not as bad as Bullard, because my wife went to Bullard school, and I don't know if it's just living there or the water, but their noses turn up like this if you go to Bullard. And I pick on her all the time because, of course, she lives in Van now. And, and I say, and when it comes up, like we played baseball day before yesterday with Bullard, and I looked at my wife and I said, maybe you lived on the other side of Bullard. Those little boys' nose is not turned up like yours is. Of course, she hit me. She thought it was funny. Maybe things. I don't doubt Bullard has changed very much. I know Van has, but I doubt Bullard has.
I do think it has. And I think, but when you've lived here your whole life, you have seen things come and go.
Yep.
You have seen what businesses didn't work, what does work, what people come out and support, what money was spent on certain things that nobody went to. There's a lot of things that you learn by living here that long over the years. And so I think that's something that is an advantage of me being here that long.
I think I always tell them, like, I meet people every now and then that's not from Van. They've been here 3 or 4 years. My response is, well, we're glad you really finally learned what greatness was and moved on in here. I was actually talking to a guy yesterday that he was born, went to school all of his years here in Van. And then his last 2 years, he went to Lindale. And I'm like, man, he's like, I know it. I said, but you got back as soon as you could. He's like, yeah. I mean, school rivalry or town rivalry has always been good for me.
I love it.
I have a father-in-law, an ex-father-in-law, that he hated school rivalry. He couldn't understand it. And I tried to explain to him, I've went and been friends with Canton guys and Grand Sling guys, but when it's football time, oh no, I'm sorry.
Well, the same way, like with basketball, there is nothing better than like playing Canton.
Oh yeah.
Like it is heated. And when we were growing up, it was Grand Sling.
It was Grand
Sling.
We
played football against Grand Sling. It was on.
It was on.
But you know what? Half of my friends came from Grand Sling.
You're right. I mean, that's what some people don't understand the small town nature that we have.
Don't take it too serious.
No, don't take it too serious. It's all good fun and games.
Yeah.
I mean, and even like the school pranks, like when we play Lindale and they come over here and prank us and we go over there and prank them. To me, that's all a spirit. And it's a school spirit thing that people's just got to realize. Yeah. So did you go to Van all your years?
Went to Van all my life.
Kindergarten through 12?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was born in Grand Sling.
Oh.
Like I literally,
I remember that little Grand Sling hospital.
Yeah.
I do.
Actually, my a relative, Dr. Dan, was actually who delivered me. And so it's,
I was born in Mineola. They're the hospital that was on Highway 80 going out of Mineola. When I tell the kids that, they're like, Dad, you weren't born in Tyler? I'm like, everybody's not born in Tyler, son.
No.
There used to be small hospitals.
My brother was born in Tyler, but my sister and I both were born in Grand Sling.
I got you.
Yeah, so we were born and raised.
Did you play sports in high school?
Yes.
Were you good? Did y'all go to state?
Well, this is going to be funny because I'm going to say yes, but then Brandon's going to say he could beat me at tennis. So then I feel like I can't answer this correctly.
Well, I know you're big into sports now because you're kids.
I do, yes. But my kids could dig holes and cover them up, and I'd go watch them do it.
Yeah. Mine too, because I got some hole diggers, and I tell them all the time.
You got a fun one.
I got more than one fun
one. I know you do, but Easton is a whole party in himself.
He is, and that's, and it's one of those things where you see a kid that's really good at something and struggles with all these other things, and you see him excel at that, and you got to be proud of him.
He is so passionate. He reminds me of Brandon, my husband.
Oh yeah,
so much because he's just got so much pouring out of him, and he gives you everything he's got. But with that, you've got emotions and stuff.
He hates losing. He hates losing so bad. It's like I watched him play baseball yesterday, and he was pitching, and the team was making just some really basic mistakes, and you could see it was eating him alive. Yep. But And the reason it was eating him alive is because he's the team spirit. He's the kid that's going to say, "Hey, y'all, let's go. And he more than the coach. Sometimes he's the one that's boosting the team up, which is good.
I totally agree because he's been on our team for years.
Yep,
I've watched him, and he is talented.
He will. He'll flip that switch, and then it's when we meshed. Me and my wife meshed our families together with all the different boys. You never know how that's going to go, and to watch all my kids just mesh in, and right now they're thick as thieves. I mean, you got one of them over here doing something, and you asking about, I don't know, I'm not telling on my brother.
Yeah.
All of y'all in trouble now.
Yeah,
I was born.
That's right. Yep.
So, graduated, you go to college?
I did. So I went to college at TJC.
Yeah.
And then I went to UT Austin, and then I came back and went to UT Tyler. And then
what'd you go to college for?
Well, I changed it several times,
well,
but my degree is in exercise science.
I got you.
Isn't that interesting?
That is
what
interesting.
I do for a living, and that's my degree.
So, what do you run a mile in? You said exercise science. You can't run a mile? I can't.
No, I probably could. I might die at the end of it.
Yeah, that's all of us. Yeah. When we start, getting where you got kids and everything else, you get most of your exercise running from event to the next event.
I was in good shape till about 6 months ago. And then I just kind of quit, and I don't really. The kids got busy. It's Canon's senior year, so my middle child, it's his senior year.
So you got 4 kids? Three kids.
3. Avery is 19, and she works at the Dinner Bell, and she goes to TJC. And then Canon's a senior, and then Foster is a freshman.
Okay, I got you. So, we were in there the other day, and she waited on us.
In there?
Yeah,
okay.
she did pretty good. Yeah, she was good. She's
actually feisty, so she's good.
Yeah.
She's good that way.
When you go to Dinner Bell, you kind of expect it. I don't know if I grew up with Carrie waiting on me, and if I ordered something that wasn't right, she'd tell me that's not what you want. I'm like, hold on, I ordered this.
I know.
She'd show up, no, put some ketchup on that. You did it wrong.
Well, Avery started at the hardware store working, so she is a professional at dealing with grumpy men.
Yeah, definitely. And that's Dinner Bell for you, truly.
Yeah. So she's good at that. So
graduated college.
And then I went to we moved to Virginia.
Virginia.
So Brandon was in
Hold
the
on,
Navy.
I thought you said you lived here all your life. Well, you got out of van.
I did. I got out of van for a couple years, and so that's when Brandon was in the military.
Yeah.
And so I went to school up there at Old Dominion and finished up there, and then we came back.
Okay. So how'd you like Virginia?
I liked it, but I think it taught me a little bit about why I like this place.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's different.
It's
definitely
different.
I was like people were always introducing me in class so that I'd say my name because I spoke with such a Texas accent.
I have a kid that went up there. He's up there right now in West Virginia, staying with his grandma. He was supposed to be going to trade school till he met a girl, of course. Yeah. But he had a medical incident, I want to say last summer, and we ran up there to the hospital, and those people are different. I mean, the country's gorgeous. The mountains are gorgeous, but those people are different. Yes. And I'm not saying a bad different. They're just different than us.
Absolutely. Because I should have taken more advantage of living there because we live near the beach.
Oh.
And now I would do anything to be near the beach all the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I just went to school. Didn't do much of anything.
Yeah. But when you got a husband in the military, you never know what's going on.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went through a hurricane one time. I had no idea how to handle that. Everyone was evacuating, and I was in the 3rd story of my apartment building with my cat, thinking, well, I just really hope this doesn't get out of hand.
Man, yeah, because I mean, until we had the tornado here in Van, most of us, when a tornado come through, it was just a warning, and you didn't take it too seriously. Nobody took it. Oh
now
man,
I mean, you mean business.
Even when I'm out of town and it happens, when I see a warning or something, I think about everything that needs to be done, basically for my kids.
Yes.
Because I know 2 years after that, anytime there was bad weather, my kids, you could see the concern in my kids' body.
Yeah, they freak out.
Yeah.
Mine too. Mine know where to go. They get the animals. It's like a thing. So, and I think most of us are that way here now, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good. We learned from that.
We definitely learned. Yeah. We are. The whole town is more prepared.
Yeah.
And so somebody mentioned that it was sort of an economic start over in a lot of ways for the town because we've seen how much we weren't prepared for things like this. Right. And I of course don't wish any natural disaster on anybody, but I think we're better prepared than some towns. Mm-hmm. And I've watched how we've helped other towns. Yeah. When someone else is in the situation that we were, immediately when we find out, we're automatically open arms. Yeah.
but I think it made us closer.
Yeah,
you know, it's like anything. If you are like feuding or you don't get along and something bad happens and then all of a sudden you just come together, and sometimes that's needed.
There wasn't a lot. I did not feel like there was a lot of bickering and a lot of hatefulness for anybody at that time. No. It was all we are Van.
We're like, yes, we're one.
That's it. Except for everybody making fun of my good buddy Big Dean for him playing golf.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, here's my thing about that.
I got a thing too, so you go.
Okay. So here's my thing. What if he would have been home taking a nap that day?
Yeah.
Would anybody have said anything for him taking a couple hours off and doing anything? So I think that's a little bit unfair. I get what they thought it looked like and things like that, but you can't do something 24 hours a day.
Correct.
So I think that if he'd have been home or he'd been eating with his family, nobody would have said anything. So what if you're doing that? Because I hear them say that about the president and stuff a lot. He's out playing golf.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I have a kid that plays golf and a husband that plays golf. I know how many hours it is. It's not like you're out there for 3 days playing a round of golf.
You're right.
So I feel like that was a little unfair as far as that goes. That's all I have to say.
I don't feel like it was so much unfair in two senses. One, he shouldn't have been at the golf course at the time. That's done.
Yeah.
But it's always bothered me that a lot of people focused on that. And this is the reason bothering me. I'm a dad of 7 boys.
Yeah.
Big Dean could not have went down there and cut those trees down. He's too old to do that. But he raised a kid that I was down there with that was doing everything, living up to his daddy's image. Yes. So I give him credit for raising a good kid, because I feel like that's what Van's about.
Absolutely.
Van's about raising great people, because I could clearly live somewhere else. I work over an hour and a half away. My wife works 45 minutes away. We could live in another community, but this community is so strong and so supportive. Mm-hmm. We choose to live here and raise our kids.
Yeah.
And to see it's sort of those things, you give someone credit for producing something great. And to me, that's why I make the joke about Big Dean, because Big Dean knows I love him 100%.
Yeah.
He has shown himself to be a great man, and what people don't, when they complain about he wasn't there cutting a tree down.
Yeah.
He can't cut a tree down.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he'd probably try. I called him the other day fixing the toilet at the church. He would probably try, and he probably should have called somebody for that.
But, and maybe he did, but you wouldn't know. You just knew he was at the golf course, and that's all they were saying.
You're right. He was probably on the phone at the golf course.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the
scary thing about politics. Too.
Oh, man.
The scary thing is you can do 100 good things, and the one bad thing you do, that's what they're going to pick up on, and they're going to harp on that. And that's a scary thing when you're getting ready to do it, to think, I'm putting myself out there. I'm doing this to help people.
Yep.
I'm not doing this for any other reason. I can't even think of one personal benefit I would get from this.
You're exactly right.
There's not one.
And that's the thing, when I see the social media presence, when we have a water leak or something, everybody just goes off.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It always bothers me, because I'm like, you get these are people in your community.
Right.
Everybody that works for the water department, they live here.
Yeah.
They're doing it. If you see them out there, it's not like they're on a lunch break. They're out there.
Golf.
Yeah, they're doing they're doing their best, and everybody just piles on them. I'm like, y'all take a break for a second and realize these people are out here. Stuff don't get fixed immediately. This ain't like your Amazon don't show up the same day. I mean, you got to understand.
We live in that world, though. People just think it's like this, but it's not. And I think we've got to give people grace.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of times people don't take the time to understand why the decision was made, what's going on behind it. They just jump to conclusions.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes I think the city has not been the best at maybe relaying some of that information that would calm everybody down immediately if they knew.
Yeah.
Your road didn't get fixed because of this. Or your road is in this order, and we're going to do this first. People but the information's there. They just have to know how to go find it and who to talk to.
That's a lot of what I'm hearing, especially doing a lot of this podcast and talking to a lot of people. A big thing that a lot of people feel like they don't have is communication. Mm-hmm. And me trying, I'll give you an example for trying to find out who all's running and find out what anything on the people that's running and things about the city and all that. Our online presence is not that good.
It actually, we look bad.
Yeah.
Our online presence is not. Yeah.
I can honestly say on the same subject that I can see we're trying. We have an app. We have a good social media presence. let me phrase this. We have a decent social media presence because sometimes that social media,
that's half the battle.
We're there and people can communicate. Yeah. There's a lot of things I see on our social media presence that I don't like, but I'm a communicator. I think everyone should have the right to say a majority of stuff. And so far, I haven't seen the moderators abuse their power too much.
Oh no, I haven't either.
So I like for somebody to go on there and complain. I like for somebody to go on there. I don't like people to pile on stuff, but people to go on there and express yourself. Of course, if I post something, I post it and drop, and I don't look at it, especially if it's an opinion or something like that. I don't come back to it.
I'm kind of the same way. I'm not one that's going to come right back after yet. Like, I'm going to say what I need to say, but I'm a listener and I'm an observer. Yeah. So I probably see a lot of that you wouldn't even know that I do, because I'm not going to drop my 2 cents in on every little thing, because
that's what people do.
Much. Yeah.
So let's go into that. Why are you running for city council?
Okay, so in the beginning, I was kind of like most people. I was very frustrated with what it seemed like what was going on with our city.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't run because I was totally unhappy with anything, or that I needed to, wanted to come in and make changes. I didn't come in because I had something in mind for myself or anything like that. I just thought, well, and honestly, I'd had several people approach me and say, you should consider doing this. Okay. So that kind of and they have approached me for years, and I've been busy raising kids and working and doing other things. I haven't really had time. So I really stopped and thought about this time, because Canon's graduating. I've just got one left in high school. But I've got a lot of freedom that I didn't have before. So maybe this is a good time to kind of give back, because I lived like letting other people make my decisions for many years.
Yeah.
Not really researching. I just relied that what they were doing was good for me. So I thought, well, maybe it's my time. So I just kind of started looking into it. And I am curious by nature.
Yeah.
So if I hear something or read something, I have researched it completely by 4:00 next morning. And I mean, literally, that's probably what I did. So I started researching things, and I just started getting more interested and thinking, well, maybe I should do this. So signed up to do it. And then I started thinking, what have I done? So I would read stuff. I mean, that's honest. Yeah. What have I done? Like, I've signed up to be another mother. I'm not going to get paid. I'm going to get a whole bunch of crap all the time. Nobody's going to ever seem happy. What have I done? But being a mother, I am good at balancing a whole bunch of different things at one time. Listening,
mothers are good for
solving problems, things like that. Yeah. So that's kind of what brought me to it.
Do you feel that this is something you plan on doing for a while?
I don't think I would jump into it if I didn't feel like I would be willing to commit to it.
Okay.
But being something I've never done before, am I going to say I'll be here in 15 years? I have no idea.
The seats are what, 4 years?
They're 2.
2 years.
2 years.
So every 2 years. So
2 years I'm completely in. And then after that, we'll see if I've made progress. If, I'll reevaluate myself like other people will evaluate me.
You got to grow. You definitely got to grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's how many people's running for your seat? 4?
4.
So, and someone told me that it had to be 51% of the electorate voted to actually determine out of that 4 who wins, right?
Okay. I don't know. I didn't know that either. I don't know how that's going to work with 4 people, because that's a lot of, splitting up things.
And I also heard that there's only like 200 people that vote.
And I do know that.
So if it's only like 200 people, I mean, if each one of y'all get 35,
there's like 1,300 registered voters, somewhere around that number. Yeah. That's a pretty poor turnout.
It is a pretty poor turnout. And that's the good thing that I see about this election, is that I feel like there's going to be more than 200 people voting this time.
I think people are feeling more involved.
I do. And there's a lot going on in Van. I mean, we've kind of hit that stage where, like, when I was growing up, there wasn't anything to do in Van at all.
Yeah.
And we've started getting all these new business. I really appreciate we didn't get the Walmart. I did not want a Walmart in this town, but we're growing past 20.
Mm-hmm. Which is a good place to grow. A good place to grow, because like our little town, I think everybody loves Van because we're a small little close-knit community. I don't think anybody wants to change that. And I think that's probably why you just said you're glad we didn't get Walmart.
Yes. Yes, that is why.
So I do think we need a little growth, and we need to like nurture what we've got also. Take care of things that have been here and people that have been here. And I mean, we need new things.
What do you feel about how we have an open school district now?
So that's a hard one.
Yeah, it's hard for me too.
That's a hard one. I mean, because that's the thing. Immediately you said that I could think of a couple kids that are in that. One of them is my son's girlfriend, and I love her. And I'm so glad she was able to come over here because that was a big thing for her.
Yeah.
You know, she drives from Canton every day.
Okay.
So what I think for our town though is it's incredible.
I'm thinking about what we're able to do for other people, and because I haven't thought about it before this, but I recently was told that Mineola doesn't have a baseball team right now. All of they do not have enough kids interested in baseball to have a baseball team.
Okay, well I thought they did. I thought we played them the other day.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I was told that their kids that are good at baseball and want to play baseball are transferring here.
Well, we just got one of them. Yeah.
And to me, that's our school once again helping somebody else.
Yeah.
Because Van's it wasn't an open district when I was here.
Right.
And it was other school districts I think were, and they would stack their teams. I don't see Van ever stacking their teams. That's just not our.
I do see a lot of kids wanting to come over here and be a part of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. I guess when you asked me that question, it kind of took me for a second because, you know, you hear that and you're not real sure how you feel.
Yeah.
But then when you start really looking at it, you think their parents are coming over here and eating at our restaurant.
That's
and
right.
Shopping and becoming a part of our community. As a matter of fact, the girl that I was talking about, her family wants to move closer to this area.
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
And that's
so that's a great thing that could come of it.
Because me in particular, we're here for the school and for our kids and for the town. And if these people are getting their kids here and then they're seeing how the community is, and then they're turning around and they're going to be looking for houses here.
Yes.
And I think it's a good thing. I don't know. I'm sure it was Don Dunn that decided it and the school board. And I don't know what made them decide it.
Right.
But I'm a big Don Dunn fan.
Yeah. Oh, I love Don.
I always say that he has he's done so many things that I agree with that he could do something bad. And I would say, I don't believe it. Just because he's done so
he's
much.
Smart, and he cares about these kids. He really does.
He does.
And so I do think it's good. The only downfall sometimes that I can even think of would be just the kids in sports. And when you come over here and you've got kids that have been here and they put in their work, because we both have kids that compete and do things. That's really the only thing, and that's really minor.
Yeah,
like that's not what life is anyway. You're gonna put in your couple years and play sports, and then.
Speaking of the school, though, the school has sort of in a way they're the biggest employer in Van.
Absolutely.
They've done a pretty good job of incorporating all the new stuff that we're looking at and saying that our town needs.
Yes. Like the CTE building. Oh my goodness. Like the things that they're teaching those kids.
I know.
They can graduate with really ready to have a career if they want to. And I'm a big,
most of these kids can graduate and already have their college hours for an associate's degree.
Yes. Yeah.
And the tech building they got, the ag program they got, and they got a fishing team, they got a golf team, they got a rodeo team. Because I got a kid that wants to play all of them.
Yep.
Yeah, you see the rope dummy out there. Yeah, that's my kid. If it's a sport, he's into it.
Yeah.
But I got to say, they're smart on that because my kid would not pass if it wasn't for sports.
Okay.
He's not the kid that cares enough about everything else, but he knows he has to. Yeah. So he puts in that extra 30% to pass just because of sports. Sure. And a lot of times I'm a pretty much of a nerd, as a parent, think that sports are not everything.
Yeah.
But when you watch a kid that does not care about the academics, and in the future, he's probably not going to use much of what they're teaching in school, but they do care enough and they have the will to make it happen right now. That's a good lesson in life.
Yep. And it keeps them out of trouble.
Oh.
Everybody's always talking about what the teenagers do around Van because there's nothing to do.
There is nothing.
That is what they do. They do a lot of sports.
They do.
Hanging out, that's.
Speaking of that, the what got me doing all this was the pool. Okay. What's your feelings on a pool coming back?
So I spent a lot of time at the city pool growing up.
Did you learn to swim there?
No.
Where'd you learn to swim?
At my grandparents' house.
Oh, my wife learned to swim there. I learned to swim in Van City Lake. My uncles kicked me out of the boat and told me to swim.
Okay. Okay.
But my wife learned to swim there. I believe her brother, a lot of people that I've talked to since this pool thing come up have told me, that's where we learned to swim at.
Okay, well, first of all, I think the splash pad was genius.
Yes, I do. Splash pads are cool.
I do. I think that was such a smart idea. From what I understand, the city pool was losing money in the end, and it was a big expense to repair it.
Yes.
And I do think to put a new one in, it is a really, really big expense. and probably supporting it. Today is a different day and time than when we grew up with a city pool. There were not pools in everybody's backyards, and there's tons of pools. And I mean, people go around to Walmart and buy one for $400 and set it up and tear it down at the end of the summer.
I've done that.
So I think that we probably need to look around. Like Grand Saline has one that's back up and running, and I see a lot of people out there. But
and I would. My original thing was I wanted the pool back.
Yeah. Okay.
But before I would actually, after talking to people about the pool, before I'd actually, because you're right about people going to buy a pool at Walmart. You're right about how all that works. Before it would be something major on something that I really want to see. I would want to know how Grand Saline's doing, because I've heard Grand Saline's not been doing that well.
Okay.
And it's not a good expense.
You got to put the numbers on it. That's the thing. Like everything, you can't do everything that feels good. Like it has to work. I know. If you're a business, I mean,
you're right.
It has to make sense. You have to be able to afford it. You don't want to, and pools are expensive, which is why my husband won't let me have one. And he said it's not about the initial response; it's the care and take of it over the years.
And that is my thing, and that's why we don't have a pool now. We had a pool for 6 years.
Yeah,
the kids got done. I was the only one that was cleaning it, and I told them the last year, so this is the last pool y'all will have.
And you use it for 3 months out of an entire year.
Well, we're a little country, so we used it during the winter too.
Well, you know what we did? So I wanted a pool, and so we built a little half-based basketball court.
Yeah.
And so Canon plays out there year round. So we've already feel like we've done better because we put that out there instead of the pool, because he can use it all year.
That is something that come up with this pool discussion was when I was talking to people about the pool, they're like, you know what else we don't have? We don't have basketball courts around town.
I think that would be. So we do have some at some of the schools.
Well, you're right. And the one thing that I got to say about the other towns is they have basketball courts out around the parks. And what that leads to is people can see the kids playing basketball.
Right.
And that age bracket, I feel as a parent, I want people seeing my kids when they're out and about. The places that we have basketball courts are behind the schools.
You're right.
And the kids can go back there. And when you're back there playing basketball and you're getting aggressive or somebody says something,
it's easier to fight when you're out behind the building. It's easier to fight.
That's right. Yeah. But if the basketball goal is out in the middle of the park and people are driving by, it's not as easy to fight. Right. And on the opposite thing, it also makes it where our police officers, when they're driving by, they can clearly see what's going on there, and it's out in the open in public.
Yes.
And I really like our van PD. I don't like their cars. I do not like the cars. I raise my kids to, if you see a cop, go up, shake his hand, say how you're doing, introduce yourself. When a cop car is not black and white, they can't do that.
Right.
And the gray cop cars, no,
they throw you off.
Oh, to me, it's wrong. You're not actually.
Well, I think they do that so that you don't know exactly who they are.
Well, I don't want that. I want you to be a cop. If you want to be an undercover cop, we need to hire an undercover cop.
Yeah.
If you're going to be someone that's sitting around looking for tickets, then you don't need to be on patrol. This is van. I want my kids, when something goes wrong, I want them to see you and go for you.
I totally agree with that, because that is, I think sometimes, especially in this day, and we've had so much in the news media about police officers. Like, I think our kids need to know that they're there for your safety.
Yeah.
They do, and they need to feel like they're there for you instead of against you. And I think that's a dialogue that's been created.
Yeah, and it definitely has.
And they're not.
We had an incident here where my kids were chasing one of our dogs. He got out, and one of the kids dropped his bicycle on the side of the road, and they had split up, and the other kid went back and saw the bike on the side of the road and immediately thought somebody took his brother. And of course, the brother's across the street over here getting the dog, but he walks back to the house. And as soon as he got here, he broke down in tears because he swore somebody stole his brother. Yeah. Now, as a parent, when you got a kid walking up saying somebody took your brother, I was gone. I shut both of these streets down, didn't let nobody get through. Of course, by that time, the kid walked through with the dog in his hand.
Yeah.
But it made me realize at that point of how quick something can go bad. We haven't had that here. I mean, we had little incidents, but nothing major. But I can tell you in Van, if something like that was to happen, I think this town, which is why social media means so much to me.
It does.
It can turn on just like that.
You know how fast people are finding dogs and cats now?
I know.
I mean, that's the thing. You put it on there.
And sometimes it's not even your dog.
I know. Usually it's not. Usually it's not your dog. But that's why I love Van, because we're just like a extended neighborhood. We're small enough that we can all take care of each other to some degree.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why a lot of kids, though, want to move from here, is because we're so small and everybody knows your business.
They do know your business.
They do know your business, but
which is good.
But it should be okay
if
you're doing the right things.
I agree with you. And, well, there is a difference. And I had this conversation with somebody the other day about how Van's growing. Because eventually we're going to have more houses in here. Are we going to have subdivisions? Are we going to have duplexes? Are we going to have apartments? How are we going to structure this town? Because it has to grow. I mean, I'm not saying we should make it Lindale. Definitely not Lindale.
Yeah, I don't want Lindale.
It has to grow.
Although I love Lindale. But I don't want to live in Lindale. I don't want to go live in Lindale, but I don't mind visiting Lindale.
I was just there last night eating. But as it grows, because for you, example, your kids are almost grown.
Right.
Do you want them to come back and live in Van?
They better live in Van. So Avery goes to TJC and she still lives here in town. And then Canon is getting ready to go to mortuary school and he's doing it online and he's going to work at the funeral home. So he's not leaving at all. So
we have to have more houses and more places for people to live. I would
like him to raise his family here.
And I would like my kids to come back here too.
Absolutely.
So as we grow, we have to figure out how this is going to work. And that's what some people, and I don't think when they see, hey, look, my street didn't get fixed this year. All they can think about is their immediate needs right now. They're not looking at how the city is. From what I could tell, we're going through a change. We're going through of how are we going to grow this city. And as it expands out, you and the other people running, you're the ones who are going to be making these decisions right now.
Yeah.
And getting informed and saying how you want this town to grow. We vote for y'all and y'all are going to decide how that happens.
My big thing has been like, I don't have a platform per se. Like I didn't come in with anything like this is on my agenda and I'm going to get it done. But I started realizing as soon as I started talking to people is that most of the business owners in town, the people that make this place really go round, almost none of them live in town.
Nope.
Very few. They don't even get a vote.
Nope.
They don't get a vote. So, immediately, of course, I help run a business here. It's not mine. But, I thought, that's kind of, think about that a minute.
Well, are we going to annex more area? That's a question I have.
I think that's being proposed. I think it's a statewide thing that they're, that they take in. It's an ETJ. They can take in so many, like a half a mile if you've got this many residents and further if you do. And that I think that's made to actually help your town grow.
Yeah.
That way you don't stay little tiny Van, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you need a little bit across the interstate.
Yeah.
Maybe that little bit will help your whole town, in its entirety.
And I think it will. But I talking to people, I don't think many people know how we're structured to grow. Because when you can't just put some, I think, I don't know what street it is, the street before the baseball field, they just recently put new houses through there.
Yes.
Now, to put those new houses through there, you got to go in there and you got to upgrade the water, the electricity.
You have to be able to keep up with it.
That's right. And people have to plan these things out 10, 20 years down the road.
Yes.
And I'm excited to where I see us growing. This is J.E. Rhodes' his old house.
Yeah.
He built this when they built the school. And I'm excited to have it. Of course, I bought it hoping the school would one day buy it for me for like 3 times what I paid for.
Well, okay.
But, you shoot for it. But as we grow, I think our kids are going to be different than we are.
Yeah.
Because I watch how people interact in the generations below me.
Totally different.
Totally different.
Totally different. Like I am, even at meals, I'm like, look at me in the eyes and we're going to have a conversation. Don't text me what you want from me on the same table when we're sitting at the same table.
And video games.
Yeah.
Because I see, and not to complain, these are grown people that are holding steady jobs, raising families. But when I was growing up, we would sit in front of the TV for a couple hours every night and watch TV as a family. People these days don't. They sit in front of a video game and they play a video game for a couple hours before they go to bed.
Yeah.
And on Saturday and Sunday, you might see them come out and mow their grass real quick, but then they go back in and they play video games for 5 or 6 hours as almost a family.
Yeah.
I don't know how that looks when you do communities.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to make a town. And I'm not just particularly talking about Van, but we have to think about that as how we grow. My family don't. We eat around the table. We all eat, and then we go our separate ways. We all have different shows. We have sports, and honestly,
most people are that way. I think most of us, we all just do our own thing, you know, like for the most part. There are some days I'm like, I need that kid upstairs to come down and show his face.
I'm there. Get out of the room.
Get out of the room. But also, that's their age.
Yeah.
And I probably was that way at that age too.
It is.
You know, you have to go through it.
Yeah. Well, me and Sarah had that conversation today because kids have hit those zones where older brothers don't like little brothers anymore.
Yeah.
And little brothers don't want to listen to anybody. And it's my response is they're at that age. Just chill.
Just let them go. I know it's hard. Especially for moms. We're like, we just want them to like us and we want them to be okay and happy. And when they're not speaking, we do not know.
Dads are ready. Hey, I got 4 more years and I get to do whatever I want.
I'm scared to death by that. I'm scared to death. I'm like, what is my hobby going to be when I'm not doing these things with the kids?
Me and Sarah's planning on building a big wedding venue, like a big Viking hall.
Oh,
that's our retirement. That's what I'm not a person that ever's going to plan on stop working.
Yeah.
So I brew mead. So we're going to do downstairs going to be a brewery and upstairs going to be like a big wedding venue. That is our long-term goal.
Yeah.
And we want to do it somewhere here. And we're looking at land right now. So
that'd be really
we've been
neat.
saving.
That would be neat.
Well, you know, hopes and dreams.
I know that I will never retire.
I won't either.
I don't get that. I don't get that option.
Oh, wow.
Granny is 92.
She is. I saw her at the football game.
She still works every day. She goes to all the kids' sporting events and everything. And so I don't know anyone in my family that's ever retired.
I told my wife that because she's different than us, she has a retirement plan and a 401k, and she plans on retiring one day. And I've told her, I said, look, that's to me, when you retire, you die.
Yeah.
You work until you die.
I'm jealous of the people that get to retire. I'm not going to lie.
Well,
I would like to be able to try to find hobbies, but I also love what I do.
You're fixing to have to when the kids get out.
I know. I don't know what that's
going to be. And then 5 years, 10 years after that, you'll have grandkids.
I played bingo the other day. I was pretty into
You played bingo? I loved it. Where's bingo at?
I played bingo at Brisket Love in Lindale.
Oh, yeah. Brisket Love, pretty good.
I also played down here when we had that Van Education Foundation.
So you like bingo?
It was good.
I like poker, so I can't say nothing.
Oh, yeah. Brandon likes poker, too.
Bingo.
We should talk about that later.
Oh, yeah. Poker's great.
But,
Poker is fun.
But I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I could do this once a week.
So you're going to start your old bingo league in Van?
I'm going to add that to my hobby list.
So what's some of the more things in Van that you want to see come about?
Here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that what I want is like more important than anybody else. So, I mean, I'm like anybody else. If it affects all of us, then it's top on my list.
Okay.
If it's roads and waters and all the things that we all need to survive on, it's top on my list. I'm kind of like you. I would not mind us getting a basketball court.
Yeah.
Because I have a big basketball kid. And what happened to us and why we ended up building that court was because the schools quit letting us use those facilities.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big hit for us. We were like, what are we going to do? Because this kid was up there begging principals to let him in to play because that was all he did.
Well, when I grew up, it was sort of open. You could go. Now the rule, and I understand the rule.
I understand the rule totally.
When school's out, nobody's supposed to be on the school.
You can't watch that stuff. Things are going to get torn up. There's so many reasons. I totally understand.
And I live right in front of the school, so my kids are always out there skating. And I've always told them, look, if somebody tells you to leave, you leave. Don't go immediately back, but the next day you go back until they tell you, unless they come directly and talk to me and say, Clyde, keep your kids from the school.
Right.
We're going to work it out. But me and the school's always had a good working relationship.
Yeah.
But we did the new park. What do you think about the new park?
I like the new park.
It's nice.
It is nice.
They got a fishing spot. So
I think that's incredible.
Especially because we lost Van City Lake.
I'm devastated over that.
I am too.
Yeah.
I got the fish on it since then, though. It's still good fish.
Cool. I'm sure it is. Yeah. So I'm glad that we have a pond because I think that's going to be good for the kids.
I do too.
Yeah. And good for us too. Maybe that's a new hobby.
Have you fished lately?
Maybe I should fish out there.
Yeah. Have you fished lately?
I haven't. I get Foster ready to go fish and I send him off, but I never get to go myself.
Oh, I
used to love to fish.
We go to my aunt lives right outside of Van, and we go to her place. And I always thought it was us using her lake. And I found out that she uses that lake to get us to come back and see her all the time.
Genius.
It's very genius.
Smart.
And I didn't realize it for a while, but I caught her like in just saying, hey, when you're going to come fishing? And then how she did it was like, okay, I'm being suckered in. I get it. I love it, but I get it.
I grew up fishing with my grandparents.
So
I love doing that, but I haven't gotten to do that.
So what's some of the biggest fish you ever caught? You remember?
So my papa was a crappie fisher. Yeah. So we did a lot of that. I couldn't tell you how big they were because it bothered me to kill them.
to kill him.
So he used to name them and then torture me with that. So we caught one day. He named it Candy.
Yeah.
And so when he ate that night, he kept telling me that he was eating some good candy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I didn't.
You know, I told you the story before we started this podcast about my granddaddy. My granddaddy was a big fisherman, and he retired from the oil field and I think it was the railroad before I was born. So he had, I don't know, 30 years of he fished. That's all he did was he fished. And he would take me fishing. And he took me to Lake Fork fishing for bass. Yeah. And of course, me being the person I am, I can't sit down. I can't focus. So about halfway through, he just told me, reel the damn line up. And I reeled it up. And he sit down. We went to this place and he gave me another fishing pole and he put a worm on it and he dropped it. And I was in love with crappie fishing. We sat in that one spot and I caught so many crappie fish. He shut me up completely. But all the way till his dying bed, and I saw him a week before he passed away, I've asked him, Papa, where's that crappie spot? And he would always tell me, I ain't telling you yet. And he died not telling me.
He didn't tell you?
When I last asked him, he told me, he says, keep looking, you'll find it.
You know what that means? That he got lucky that day.
It means that, or he wants me to keep going to the lake fish.
Maybe so. Yeah. We used to set up crappie lines and then go check them early in the morning.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But I did that with catfish.
But we used to do that a lot.
I did that with catfish. So where do you see this race going? How do you see it playing out?
Well, here's the thing. I met the other. So I knew Drew Cole. Mm-hmm. I didn't know the other two guys. I met them today. I really like both of them. Yeah. I mean, if we all listen to each other, there's a lot we can learn from each other. And I think that respect there is incredible. I've
got a chance to meet all of y'all. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know who's going to win, but you're exactly right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, that's the beautiful thing about city council.
Yeah.
Everybody comes from different walks and they all have different opinions. I think that's how you come up with things. The key is respectfully disagreeing.
Oh, yeah.
That is key, and that's hard for people.
It is definitely hard, especially on social media.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's why I usually hold my tongue on social media. But I think that's the thing is you learn. Like I have some of my best friends. I do not usually agree with them on certain issues, but they're my best friends because I love to learn from them and I respect them, and we have good conversation because of that. And then we both usually end up leaving with a better understanding and maybe even feeling a little bit different than when we started.
That's good friends.
I'm interested in that. Like, I think that can only benefit the town is if everyone has respectful
discourse. Yeah. Mm-hmm, absolutely. If you could see something come to Van, what would you want?
You mean other than like an Outback?
An Outback. You would like to see an Outback?
I just would like to eat there most nights of the week. So yes, that would be.
What's your favorite dish at Outback?
I like all their appetizers.
Yeah, I used to love their bloomin' onion.
Oh my goodness, I could eat their appetizers for every meal. All of them, they're all good.
So it'd be
Outback. Not really that. And here's the thing: I would love to have a Walmart conceivably without having to drive around.
You would like to have a Walmart?
I mean, that's just convenient. Like I think.
Well, Canon and Vandal's convenient.
I really don't want one. But you're asking if me personally was going to benefit from anything, then yes, running down to Walmart and getting a thing of stuff would be great. But most of that stuff I can get here in Vegas.
I use Amazon. Yeah. Amazon drops so much at my house. My wife thinks it's all stuff for the garage. It's not. I order everything.
Well, Brandon says that too, and I'm like, listen, I bought the same amount of stuff had I gone to the store. Yep. Just happened to see when I ran out of soap, I just clicked online and I needed soap, and it arrived. Yep. Magic.
It's magic.
So, I mean, I don't guess I have one in particular thing. I would love us to have like a little clothing store. I would love us to have all the little things that I drive to other towns for.
Okay. So
on that. We have a hard time carrying those, and I hate that. I don't know why.
What do you think about our downtown area?
I think that it's getting better. I think that it's growing. I think that it's got a lot of potential. I think that it needs to be.
Because I recently went to Easton's game in Wills Point. They had a tournament over there. Okay. And we had a game in the morning and a game in the afternoon. And I had my mother-in-law and my wife with me. And so after the first game, they're like, okay, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I got cash. Let's go. I'll let y'all run around and shop all the boutiques. I did not know Wills Point had like 45 boutiques, and they're nice boutiques.
Yes. And not that we don't have boutiques, because we do.
We do. We have a couple.
We do. But I love that sort of thing. I love those little towns that have antique stores and like little places that you can tool around in. I love that.
Well, the thing about our downtown area, there is no foot traffic downtown.
There's not, and that's partly probably why people don't want to go park in a little weird area,
correct,
and then get out and have to drive down a little bit to go. They can't just walk the street and go store to store.
Do you think we'll ever change it?
I think that's probably part of this plan. I think that's what they'd like to do is add some sidewalks and things to make that easier.
I know originally, maybe 4 or 5 years ago when we had the bakery downtown, that they were trying to entice the store owners to clean up their storefronts, the front, I forget what they call it, but I don't know what they've done since then. But it's something that I've always been, because we had the little bakery downtown, and I told my ex-wife at the time, I said, there is no foot traffic here.
Yeah.
And she didn't understand that. And that's why unless she did online orders or did something, I think like Rusty Water Revival's doing.
And they probably live a lot on online
orders.
Yeah. I mean, that's how a lot of people are having to make it these days, honestly.
But you can get more out of something. Well, I think Victoria's Candles, she's still running a pretty good business.
Out of her door.
Yeah.
Front door.
And she doesn't have an actual storefront that I know of.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either. I think it's all there.
I don't know where we're going with our town, but I'd like to.
I'd like to too. Because right now we're little restaurants and we're churches.
Yep.
And we're the school. That's what Van is known for, is our school.
Yep. Which is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
A great school.
I did actually get a little upset earlier when I went to Telly. Someone from definitely not town saw our name and with their nose in the air said, I can't believe they have that name. They still have it. And it freaked me out. And I looked at her and I thought, definitely you're not from here. And I looked at her husband and he saw my eyes get all narrowed and big. And I was about to say something. And then I remember my wife says, you ain't got to confront everybody. And he saw where I was fixing to go and he left her and went outside and stood outside. And I thought, well, that's a sign. Okay.
Yeah.
So I shut up and I come home to my wife and she says, you didn't say nothing? I said, no, I didn't say nothing. I figured you'd get on to me when I said something.
Sounds like my husband.
Yeah.
He gets in trouble a lot for that.
I do as well. We're proud of what we got. And there's a reason. And
that's why you balance each other out so well too.
Oh yeah. The thing is that this is just what some people don't understand. And it's kind of what you started this on. We're proud of what we got, but we try to share what we got.
Yes.
I haven't seen anybody say you can't come buy a house and van. You can't come, and it's exactly the opposite of the school. Yeah. Ain't nobody saying you can't come go to van school. We're saying, hey, we have an open district.
Right.
And the same thing, houses are expensive everywhere right now, especially land. I'm trying to buy land. Yeah. But if you go look at our Facebook page, when somebody sees a house for rent, they're blasting it on the page saying, hey, look, here's a house.
Yeah.
And these are not even.
It's going quickly too. Yeah.
And I mean, if I had a couple $1 billion, I would definitely build some rent houses in Van because they are going left and right.
I get texts
people
literally every day about someone looking for a rent house in town.
Yeah, it's growing. I don't know where we're going with it, but we definitely need to build bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there is some visions, but what exactly is the vision? Like, what do we want it to look like? What do we want it to be? Do we want to be, like I was thinking about that one day, and I was thinking about Fredericksburg. And how cool, like that's a little bitty place.
But it's gorgeous.
Cool that is. Like, I would love for that to be Van.
Do you know their history?
Not really. Do you?
Oh, I do. They're a bunch of Germans.
Well, I did know that.
Yeah.
I did know that.
And a lot of them, have you watched the Yellowstone 1849, I think it was?
No, that's not the year though. 18.
I don't remember. Somewhere in there. I don't remember either.
That show.
But they told about how all those Germans moved down there. And me and Easton actually had a conversation when the Ukrainian war started because he didn't understand what was actually going on. And I told him, I said, well, it'd be like Mexico and us going at it.
Yeah.
And Canada saying, hold on, y'all stop. And I used and then I told him about the Germans down there because he didn't know there was Germans in Texas. But I would too. I would like our town to grow something like that. And I don't know how it's going to work. I know that we have some new zoning laws, and to me, that's good.
It is good, but also you want to. That's why I've kind of been trying to pay a lot more attention to that because a lot of those things can affect. Like there were some things in there about, and they haven't decided this. This is just what's in there. It was like about trailers and the length of the trailer and what can be parked at your house or where it can be parked.
Are you talking about like work trailers?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think they have decided some of that because I used to work heavy construction and there's been nights, and I was telling this before, where we had a job in, let's say, Wiley, and I'd have a big track hoe on a trailer, and I can't park it on the street.
Right. Yeah.
But the school would let me pull it up in the field right here, and then I would pull out in it. I know we have rules like that.
We do. And here's the thing: we're a little small, like, farming community. Name somebody that doesn't have a big trailer, and we have a place to park it. Yeah. But also, you can't all park a trailer on the side of the road. What is that going to look like?
And I think, and you're right. And the same thing goes to vehicles.
Yeah.
I think
can't park all your vehicles on the road.
If you have a vehicle that's not got registration or inspection on it, it can't be on the road.
Right.
And me being, you see how much I got in my garage. Now, if I was a truck guy, can you imagine how many trucks would be in my driveway?
But you know how upset you'd be if people started hauling them off?
Definitely.
Oh, that'd be bad.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's a fine line, and I guess that's where I am. I'm a realist about a lot of things, but I'm respectful of other people's opinions and things. And there's sometimes a way to figure out things. I get that we want everything to look nice, and I want it to look nice just like anybody else does. But, there's, how do you go about that? And you have to think about everybody's livelihood and how it really affects the roads, or if you're letting one person do this and not. So long time ago, they'd come up with a rule about big trucks not being on our roads.
Yes.
But then the oil company was allowed to put their trucks on the road.
I didn't hear about that.
Okay, so here's the thing: if it really is tearing up the roads, we need none of them to do that. But it was a necessary thing because they had to work from here.
Correct.
So
I think and I don't know exactly what goes on like that. And I work in the oil field, but I know there's something that goes on when those situations happen where they get with the county and the city, and I don't want to say make exceptions, but I want to say they pay a tax or something to get them fixed afterwards. Not saying the cities and counties always use that money for that.
Right.
But I want to say they pay a tax, because I had actually conversation with a company man one time behind that, because one of the homeowners had caught me coming out and stopped me in my company truck and thought I was the owner, and was like, hey, I'm like, hey, sir, let me get your number, because I don't have nothing to do with this. But I had a conversation, and I think that's what's happened. But you're right. There's a balance. And I want to say Van has did a good job so far finding that balance.
I agree with that.
Because I know we have a rule, you can't have roosters in town. Uh-huh. When COVID happened, my wife got chickens and roosters, and she made the kids plant a garden and made the kids go milk a cow and make an ice cream. We didn't have a cow.
Yeah, y'all were going to learn to live. Like, if we weren't going to be able to get stuff, you needed to learn to live.
The kids wasn't in school. She had to do something with them. Mm-hmm. And there was a rooster in my backyard crowing. I mean, she got him little. We didn't know he was a rooster starting out. And he grew up and he's crowing, and nobody ever said nothing and I always made a joke. Well, that'd be the day that you come and complain, rooster, you're done. When the cops come, you're dying. Yeah. But it never got that far. I eventually gave the rooster away before. But that's that balance. That's that everybody understanding these are different times at this point. Now, normally, nobody wants to hear a rooster early in the morning in the city.
Right.
If you live out in the country, that's your fault. You live in the country.
But you're also sometimes going to hear dogs in the morning. I mean, you can't fix everybody's problems. No. That's the thing. You got to go into it with reality, saying, I realize that everybody's not going to be happy.
Oh, yeah.
I realize that, but all you can do is take the information you're given, do the best you can do, do the research you can do, and do what the majority of people want you to do.
Yeah.
And that may not always be what we want.
Yeah. Well, I think, and I don't know if the other politicians are doing this, but I think having the social media presence we have for people to get on there and say stuff, and for the politicians to be able to actually see what people are doing and saying. I'm not saying get on there and comment. I'm not saying they're supposed to do all that. I'm saying they could actually see what people are concerned with in real time, where in the past you didn't have that.
It's a good way of putting out facts and information.
Oh,
like you can say, go to the city website or go to this, but people don't. Like we were talking about our kids, people don't get on there and search and look for things anymore. Oh, no. They want it sent to them right then.
Well, I got a notification from the Van app the other day. It said test, and I thought, they're trying to move on that app finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it was about.
See, I think that's a smart thing to do. I mean, that's where our world is going. You're having to think outside the box a little bit because we're changing.
Back to the school. The school's been on top of that for a while. And being able, and I don't know, I know the school and the town interact sometimes friskfully, but I think us learning from the school and using, because those are majority people that live in town.
Yeah.
Using what they have to give us, and us using them using us as well is a two-way street. And I feel like we have in the past. I feel like on some of the science and technology and where we're going.
When something happens at school, if your kid doesn't attend 7th period, you get a text.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like that's smart.
Yeah, that is.
That's smart.
And I don't know how much the city has like that. And I'm not saying we have the money like the school does to pay for all that. But some of it's pretty economical. And I've always said that some of this stuff, I'm okay with them raising my taxes for certain things. You got to be clear and open about what you're raising it for.
You do. And you also want the citizens to trust you that you're going to use it towards things that need to be, need to be there. And
I will say that I'm really looking forward to new businesses in Van. Like Ryan Hansen's little speakeasy thing.
Yes.
Ever since I want to support Van. We do not have enough restaurants in Van that I am going to eat more at than we do that I have to go to Ben Wheeler or I have to go to Lindale because I like stuffed jalapenos and I like Bud Light. Those things are not in Van. Bill Hullum had his little place there for a while.
And I love that place.
I ate there as much as I could.
I did too.
And his tacos weren't good.
Well,
but I still ate there.
Like their tacos.
I didn't. Okay. I didn't. I know you can like them.
I know, that's right. But they were good, but I hated they left.
I did
that
too.
Was such a cool social place to be.
It was.
In the back. And that's what I was saying is that I've seen places come and go that you would on paper and in your heart just know they were going to make it because that's such a cool thing. And who would not want that?
I know. And that's why I'm hoping the Van people don't give up and think that we're going to not. Because like Ben Wheeler's growing and Ben Wheeler's growing good.
Yeah.
We just went over there and to the Fords the other day.
Fords last night.
Yeah. Well, we called in and picked up. I even do that sometimes because they got the fish and chips, the best fish and chips I can get around here.
Listen, I like most of their food.
Yeah. But they're growing and it looks like it's a good growth. Now, I don't know if that's because they have a block of land that's easy for them to say, this is what we're going to put here. Where Van has buildings that's been here 50, 60 years. And it's like, how are we going to make this an industrial zone?
The Forge used, how it started off and then it was a hair salon. So I used to go there when it's a hair salon. I mean, so it's kind of going through a couple different things. Yeah.
Because she had Pam Getty not Pam Getty. The woman did the
Franklin was who had the hair salon.
Well, she was in the front though, right? Or was she in the back?
She was in the back. I'm trying to think what was in the front. There was a little restaurant in the front. So her husband had a little restaurant in the front, and then she had a hair salon in the back. I think is when it first started.
Man, do you know Bob Malden?
Yeah.
Bob Malden does a little. Yes, he did. He does a little TV show. He always brings this up. So the ditch that used to be right there where the elementary school is. Me and Bob Malden and a bunch of other kids used to play the A team.
Okay.
That ditch is no longer there.
Okay.
But that's all he could. Every time he hears my name, he's like, me and Clyde used to play the A team. And it's like, dude, that was when we was in kindergarten and first grade. But he has a show called Expedition Texas where he goes around and tells the stories of these, like the Canton courthouse. And I think he did one about something out just that side of Tyler. But that history, I feel like is coming back. Yeah. More people are going to want to know about what all this stuff means. And the education that goes with it is people like that just digging it up.
Yeah.
It's going to be Van's growing is going to be cool, I think.
I think so too. Like I've always been proud of this town. Yep. I really didn't want to leave when I left it for the 2 years that I left it.
But you can say you left.
But I did, and I'm better for it because I realized that where I was we got back here quickly.
Yeah.
We were like, we're not raising children up here. We were raising children in Van. And I'm glad that we did because people care about your kids.
Oh yeah.
I care about your kids.
I know.
I mean, that's the thing, and I've got 100 people that care about mine and bring them by, the house or text me during the day. Like I would be lost if I did not have that.
My kids used to, especially when they were younger, they would walk around town and before they can make it very far, I'd have a phone call.
Yeah.
Hey, like, do you know your kids are walking by the dollar store? I do. Yeah. And I'd always say I do and thank you for letting me know.
Yes.
And the deal is that everybody, and to me, I know the kids hate it, but to me, it's a good thing that you got this guy that saw you, waves at you. He's not interfering with you.
No.
But if something was to go wrong.
Or if you had a flat tire.
Oh, yeah.
They're there'd be 4 people that would stop and help you. But I realized real quickly in Virginia, if I had a flat tire, I was on my own.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they had places you could call, but I didn't have friends or a close-knit community. I didn't have any of that. You know, so I knew that I wanted to be back in a small town.
I will tell you that when we had that snowstorm last week, I was very not happy with Van for 10 minutes. So
10 minutes.
No, it was 10 minutes. That's what I'm going to tell you. It was only 10 minutes. I pulled out of here. I put all the kids in the truck and locked the 4-wheel drive in. And I mean, everything's frozen. And it was when it actually snowed. And we're going to my brother's to ride 4-wheelers and sled. And I get right past the nursery down here, past the school, and there's a car in the middle of the road. And there's people that went around that car. That's when I wasn't happy. Went around that car. I stopped and checked. It's a little car. There was 3 babies in the back seat, a mom and dad and a grandma in that car, and they'd been there since the night before in the middle of the road, stuck, and people were driving around them. I was not happy.
Yeah.
Maybe those people actually didn't live in Van. They were going down the road. I immediately told them, be back, made 2 phone calls, and like 5 people showed up with blankets, hot cocoa. The city turned around, got him a hotel down here. Within 5 minutes, all of that was took care of.
Yeah.
And those babies sat there all night cold. Well, I'm from Van.
Yeah. Okay.
It's sort of in I don't know.
It's kind of in us. I do think that we do. And sometimes you don't know if it's you or if it's what you learn from the community or it's what you learn from your family. I do think as a whole, most of us do.
I think it's Van. I'll be honest with you. I got a fire extinguisher I'm the only one in the oil field in my company, and we're the second biggest fire company in the world that has a fire extinguisher on their truck. And I've used it repeatedly because I drive so much. I've run into incidents over and over and over. And I'm not the guy that just keeps going. Yeah. Because you don't know what's going on.
I know.
I've been in that situation before. And that's what I think Van, with our shared history, especially after the tornado, we've all been in that situation. Yeah. And when something goes wrong, we want to jump out there and help.
Yeah, we come together.
Yep. Yeah. So you got anything else you want to put on this? Because we went quite a ways today. It was supposed to be just you coming in here talking about, I'm running for office.
I know, it's just nice to talk. Catch up.
So
okay.
Melissa, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, we're done.
I don't think so, but I do want people to know that I'm open to questions.
You're open to questions?
I do want people to know that if they think something or want me to look into something, they can always reach out to me. And I always want to be open for people and approachable that they can talk to me about it. So
Understood.
That would be my only
All right.
thing.
So everybody, y'all get out and vote.
Get out and vote.